So now we are at Wilmore Nursery and Leah joins us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, MJ.
You know, I am excited because you guys have a great collection of fruits that are available to people even if they don't have a large yard.
That's right. You know, I think a lot of people think they have to have a huge space or a giant yard, or even with some of these smaller varieties, you don't have to have a yard at all. Just a sunny patio would be all you'd need.
Well, I was noticing, what do you have next to you? I was looking at the fruit.
Well, this is what they call a colonnade or a columnar apple tree. And there's several varieties available in this columnar. They just grow like a pencil, straight up and down, so they don't take a lot of space. And they can be grown in the ground, they can be grown in a large container like we have in front of us there. And they just make a wonderful fruit tree. They bloom beautifully in the spring, so they're really pretty. I've seen them used where they plant several of them in a row in a pot and use them as a screen to screen a neighbor for privacy or something like that.
Yeah, no, I think they're a great screening plant, and those are one of the easiest fruit trees to grow.
And as with a lot of fruit trees, you need a second variety to pollinate them.
Yes, yes.
So you wouldn't want to have two of the same variety.
No, and we do have these in a few different varieties, so you could get a yellow and a red, which should cross-pollinate each other. Or if you had a standard size or a semi-dwarf apple in the yard, and a lot of the crab apples will also cross-pollinate.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought up that terminology, the dwarf and the semi-dwarf and the standard. You know, the old standard fruit trees is going to get 20, 25 feet tall. So if you want to scale down from that, you would go to a semi-dwarf. Those are going to get in the 10 to 12 foot range. But I think even better than that is a true dwarf like we have here with this peach tree.
Yeah. This is a great little dwarf variety. It gets full-size peaches, and they're freestone. This is the Pixie peach.
Oh, nice.
And I tell you, my daughter loves them. She's 2, and it's her perfect height for picking.
They also have new varieties that they've grafted and trained in such a fashion that they grow almost flat.
Well, you know what that's called?
We did this
It's a
with
French
urban
word.
homesteading.
It's a
very
French
popular.
word. Espalier.
You said that very well.
Espalier.
But those varieties of apple trees are great for an area that's very flat that you can use also as a screen if you wanted to, but very common with the homesteading. A lot of people, I think of fruit trees, but they don't realize how many varieties of small fruits are readily available to them, and they're coming out with such things that don't even have thorns anymore on raspberries.
Well, you know, you'd never used to think of growing a raspberry plant in a container. They're just too big. They get 5, 6 feet tall. They sucker, they spread.
Right.
They're just a pain to grow in a container.
Yeah.
But now there's this new line called brazelberries or brazelberries, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. They're dwarf and they're designed for growing in a container. Have you had much experience with these yet?
Actually, yeah, I started some plants last year. Now mine are planted in the ground, but they are great. They're short, they're easy to pick. The berries are nice and big and sweet.
Well, yeah, I see berries
Yeah.
on this one already. And
Yeah.
look how small this plant is. But you wouldn't have to have a dwarf variety for some of the other fruits like blueberries. You want to choose a variety that's hardy in our area. And the garden centers like Wilmore and other garden centers choose varieties that are specifically designed for this climate. So you can feel pretty safe about that.
Yeah, ours should be plenty cold hardy whether you want to grow them in the pot or in the ground. You know, the big thing with blueberries or any plant that you're going to grow in a pot is they do require just a little bit more water. So we're going to water
Sure.
a little bit more often in the winter.
And blueberries will require an acid soil, which is a little tricky to make here, but you can do it.
You can do it. You know, start with a good peat moss base, and then you can add things like sulfur or the aluminum sulfate to help lower the pH.
We do have a very good climate because we have lots of sunshine, and that's what fruit trees need to produce well.
Right.
And we have the nice winter, which they'll require. We have a great climate for producing fruit. Just choose the varieties wisely, and you can plant just about anywhere in your yard.
Leah, thanks so much for joining us. And if you have any questions on any of these varieties, make sure to join us on our website at digincolorado.com.